Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new week, to a brand new edition of the Playmaker Pod Podcast. This is your college football edition. And as always, you know me, the host, Darnell, the Playmaker South. And my co-host, Dallas Glenn. How you doing, my brother?
Doing good.
It's a lot of stuff to get into when it comes to football, for the college football side. We're going to get into the whole Alabama tour injury that was so unfortunate. We're going to get into the recap of the week. We're going to get into a lot of stuff this week. We might have a little longer episode. And this one is actually fair for this week. So with that being said, Dallas? Let's go right into it. Tua Tagovailoa got injured. He's done.
Yep, for the season. He already had surgery. They're looking at a prognosis of 6 months. To be honest, man, like, I saw one person. Actually, no, I saw a couple people. I saw a couple people who usually don't really post sports on my timeline, kind of sort of just run-of-the-mill people. They're the only people that I've heard, period, in this world, even on absurdity Twitter, that think that Tua would actually come back because his draft stock has lowered. I don't know if they remember Nick Bosa. I don't know if they remember a lot of NBA players. I don't know if they remember Brandon Jennings. But if you're an Alabama fan, because I think it's really only Alabama fans who would ever think this, Darnell, that think that Tua, after having 4 surgeries in 24 games, is going to come back because his draft stock lowered and play for the Crimson Tide. You're not thinking this through. It's okay. Not everybody's trying to be a sports journalist. Not everybody's trying to be a sports blogger. Some people are cool just being fans, and that is perfectly okay. A lot more coaches and athletes wish that a lot of us would be just fans, but there is no way in hell, Darnell, that Tua Tagovailoa is playing another snap for Alabama. Not when there were literally like 3 NFL teams, whether they were saying it or not, tanking for him. Like it's one of those things where it's ironic. The same year that the NCAA makes this weird announcement that athletes can get money off their likeness, one of the best players in college football history suffers an injury that used to end careers. Now he's going to miss the entire draft process, and he's probably going to have to go to Axos or whatever his name is in San Diego or Phoenix and literally just train for an entire year.
Question, because a lot of people have discussed this on different shows. You know, I try to keep it with a lot of shows. Was Nick Saban the blame here? It's just an unfortunate situation.
To be honest, and I said this like the day of, and again, one of the same people said, hindsight 2020. Like, look, when you're up by 30 plus points in the first half, and Nick Saban himself said to a sideline reporter that it was basically a 2-minute drill. Now, look, football is a violent game. Football is a physical game. But when you're up on an in-conference opponent so much that you don't plan to bring your starting quarterback out for the second half, and you're literally just running practice drills, you're running practice drills for a dude that just played a classic a week ago, who just had to basically, because nobody wanted to tackle, nobody wanted to play defense. He only had a running back and his receivers. He basically had to play Big 12 football the entire second half against LSU with that pass rush. So coming off of that game, now you want to have Tua run 2-minute drill reps? Like, you just faced the best team in the country and were down 20 plus and brought it within 5. You get the onside kick. Who knows, Darnell? You can't blame Nick Saban, because it's not like Nick Saban put out a hit on his own quarterback. But at the same time, it is legitimate to question his coaching methodology with you're up by 30 plus. It's one thing if this is an out-of-conference opponent late in the season trying to pad your schedule because you anticipated LSU being good. It's one thing if you're playing, ironically, the team that's projected to be in a bowl right now, Virginia Tech. It's one thing if you're playing, Utah in a late season padding game because you didn't think Utah was going to be good again. Maybe you thought people would graduate. But, dude, you're playing an in-conference opponent. You know who Mississippi State is. You had them last year. You were in SEC media days. You've been keeping track of them all season. You know which in-conference games are the ones that might be an upset in the making, and you know which ones that you can close down by the first half. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, it's hard to simulate too many offense or 4-minute offense in practice. You can only do that in the game time.
And that is true.
Now, was he preparing for Auburn per se? I like to think so, in my opinion, because their next game is against somebody. I think it's against some FCS teams. Most likely, Tua probably wouldn't have played in that game.
Which is ironic, because if they have an FCS team next, then what are you doing?
So pretty much you're looking at doing what you can do against somebody in your own conference to prepare you for the Iron Bowl, which is a trip to Auburn. It's unfortunate we went from an ankle injury to a hip injury.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and a broken nose too.
Yeah, and a concussion. And because we're talking about Alabama exclusively, yeah, they're playing Western Carolina from the FCS. They're 3-8. Because see, here's the thing. Because we're talking about Alabama, not talking about anybody else, but because we're talking about Alabama, here's the thing that sucks. Alabama had the Mississippi State game in hand, but the troubling part is the second half was 3-0 Alabama. If this was soccer, that'd be great. But dude, the same team that you were trouncing in the first half, you could only get a field goal against, and that was it. So you won the game. You won the game by a good margin. And now Alabama, like any SEC team should, like any top 5 team should, is probably going to blow the heck out of this 3-8 FCS team. A team that's bad on the FCS level is about to play Alabama, knowing they need style points. So Matt Jones,
I'm not the second half like everybody else, because I actually watched that. There was injuries left and right. I'm like, jeez. I'm pretty sure both coaches like, can we just get this game over with? Because I got so many players injured. Nick Saban got so many players injured. It's like, well, damn, can we just get out of this alive?
Well, okay. So seriously, that's valid. If it got to the point where literally a franchise quarterback went down, and then all of a sudden Mississippi State started losing people, Mississippi State knows their season's a wrap. Mississippi State, what is their record, Darnell?
I think they're like 4-something.
Let me see real quick. I'll just see, because I mean, it goes to your point. Yeah, they're 4-6. So they literally would have to win out if they even have that many games left. Yet they do. And one is ironically against an FCS school, then Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. So they would have to win a big rivalry game to even make a bowl. Their season's a wrap. They're not trying to go out there, play for pride, whatever. So that's valid, Darnell. That's valid. That being said, it's for those who aren't going to look at that context, it's still not a good look.
It's not, but other I would say people look at, they literally watch their star quarterback on the ground for who knows how long before they actually got him up.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's bad, and there is no rally for Tua when you're up 30+ points. Here's the thing I'm worried about. They played Arkansas with the backup. I couldn't believe how bad Arkansas actually was. Then the next week, you couldn't believe how bad Arkansas actually was. Arkansas's coach got fired. I say all that to say that might not really be a good sample size about Alabama's backup. Now the next game he's about to start, unless they start Tua's brother, unless they have a quarterback competition and realize, hey, okay, this is an FCS team, but Tua's brother is the one that's actually going to have us have a chance to beat Auburn. Because this FCS team, bro, this is like nothing.
Though, what's only one problem with that? He already played. He already played 4 games, so I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to redshirt him or not. That's my only concern.
Who, Mac or Tua's brother?
Tua's brother.
No, I'm not talking about redshirting. Dude, nobody is talking about redshirting right now because Alabama still has an outside shot. That is not what I'm trying to bring up. I'm not trying to bring up the R word. I'm trying to bring up this FCS game does not matter because Alabama could play its worst game of the season and still win by 20. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, are you going to do the 2-quarterback rotation? Are you going to start Mac in the first half, to his brother in the second half? Are you going to flip it? Are you going to do it like every other play? If Mac starts looking bad, are you going to give to his brother a shot? Like, what are you going to do to get looks in a quote-unquote live game situation? Because if you don't beat Auburn, it doesn't matter if LSU beats Georgia in the SEC title game. It doesn't matter if Ohio State gets upset. It doesn't matter if Clemson gets upset, bro. If Alabama doesn't beat Auburn, everything is for naught. And I don't know if the guy who beat Arkansas, who then got beat by Western Kentucky by a good margin and got their coach fired, I don't know if that's a good enough sample size to say, well, there is a freshman, bro, Nix, but
What is Alabama's chances to make a play? Anyway.
To be honest, bro, like, first of all, they need help. But now you have to legitimately question, are they going to be Auburn? I know the reasoning you just gave me. I know that they were shook because Tua suffered 3 injuries. One was catastrophic. Another one would have probably had him out next week anyway because of concussion protocol. So either way, Tua going down probably rocked and rattled the team because they knew how much help they were going to need and they were going to have to look good while doing what they were doing. That being said, I don't know now if they beat Auburn. I don't know now if Gus Malzahn can have one of the biggest wins of his career, if not the biggest besides the national championship. I don't know if they're going to get the help. I think if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say maybe 45, 48. I can't say anything over 50 because I would have to believe that it's more than likely that Clemson and Ohio State lose bad games. I don't think that's more than likely.
Mm-hmm. You say we're about 45. Interesting. Because before we get into our next topic, so before we get into the group of 5, we have to talk about Oklahoma.
I think their playoff chances are done after that.
One of my Facebook buddies wrote this because he does his Facebook Live for the Football World Group, and one of the topics he put, Jalen Hurts Baylor. That is exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Was they up 28-3, just like the Atlanta Falcons was on the New England Patriots?
They were.
Overtime was not needed in this one, though.
Surprisingly.
Jalen Hurts led the Oklahoma Sooners into a comeback victory over previously unbeaten Baylor.
His passing box score by Big 12 standards in a shootout aren't what surprises you. The 27 carries for 114 yards is what surprises you. Because usually in the Big 12, yeah, you had Kyler last year, but dude, think about it. Usually in the Big 12, the Kyler Murrays, the RG3s, the Jalen Hurtses, those are actually on the rarer side. You usually have big, tall pocket passers who are usually just slinging the rock in these 5-wide offenses. I know Jalen's legs helped. They got first downs and extensions and all that good stuff. But I mean, it's just, he was the leading rusher. He had the most carries. Obviously, he was the leading passer, but he almost had a 300-yard game, had 4 touchdowns through the air, I think. It's this is the reason why I say they're done, though, Darnell. If Jalen Hurts were to get hurt, Oklahoma is getting destroyed the next 3 weeks. They're getting destroyed their last 2 regular season games. They're getting blown out in the Big 12 championship game. Jalen Hurts had to come back down from 28-3, had to rush for over 100 yards on 27 carries. He had a full day as a running back and as a quarterback trying to get his team back down from 25. Yes, the defense has to keep getting Jalen the ball back. You don't have a comeback if the other team keeps scoring. The problem is that was not the game to have mental lapses. that was not the game to not believe that Baylor was that legit. They needed style points that game because, as I'm sure you've noticed, Darnell, like I've noticed, they have had Oklahoma firmly under the Pac-12 and teams with losses. They have had them under Georgia, who lost to unranked South Carolina. They've had them ranked under Alabama, who lost to number 1 LSU. They have them under Oregon and Utah, who, as of right now, they're probably not making the playoff either. We're just being realistic. They have them against Penn State, who just got upset by a team that was double-digit ranked at the time. Oklahoma's ahead in their conference. And they lost to a team in their conference. It's like, you can't even say they're getting hit with the Clemson rule because, Iowa State's ranked. Oklahoma State's ranked. Baylor's still ranked. Oklahoma's ranked. There's 4 teams from the Big 12 in the ranking. Right now, we're talking about a sorry behind Virginia Tech maybe getting to the Orange Bowl because the Orange Bowl has to have an ACC team when it's not a playoff game. Like, I think them being number 9 after having a humongous comeback win against Baylor is basically the committee saying, yeah, we're not doing last year again. But it's not about last year. Yeah, we're not doing that again. We're not wasting everybody's time again like last year. Because if you need to have a heroic comeback win against Baylor, the hell are you going to do against Ohio State? The hell are you going to do against LSU? Because that's who you playing in the first round, either LSU or Ohio State.
Oklahoma State being ranked right now, that's probably the best thing that could have happened to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Besides beating Baylor, who was unbeaten. And you had to go to them on prime time. Now, if Oklahoma can stay ranked through this week for Bedlam, there's something interesting to watch at Stillwater. Because right now, this week, Oregon's on prime time against Herm Edwards and the Sun Devils before they play Civil War against Oregon State. Utah, they going to Arizona before they finish off with Colorado. The only way that neither one of them get into the playoff, that's if Georgia beats LSU in the SEC championship game.
No, because ESPN last night, one of the scenarios was both Georgia and LSU get in if Georgia wins the SEC and both teams are 12-1.
You didn't hear what I said, did you?
No.
I said the only way they don't get in if Georgia beats LSU.
Oh, my bad.
If Georgia loses, the door is open.
Yeah, door's open for a lot of people if Georgia loses. But here's the thing, though, and not like, bro, like, as of right now, do we really think that's going to happen? Auburn has one job.
Look, you know what? I comment on Twitter, on Facebook with a couple of people. Georgia does not impress me. Not one bit.
They really should.
You was up 21-0 in Auburn, against Auburn, and in the fourth quarter, they could have came back and made you go into overtime.
It's just not doing it for me.
I'm not Dallas, if you go back to how I reacted to the Florida Georgia game, I think you know why I was so ticked off. Did you see what we did to Missouri with Kelly Bryant back in the fold for Missouri? Did you see what Dan Moulton did to Vanderbilt and Derek Mason the week before? Why he had to do that? Because look how they played against Georgia.
Like, if you only could have done 80% of what you've done in the past 2 weeks to Georgia, you might be in the playoff conversation.
The only reason why Georgia is in the playoff discussion is because of what conference they're in. Let's be for real.
Oh, yeah, because, bro, like, in the big scheme of things, maybe I would have Oregon having it be a game. Maybe I would have Penn State having it be a game. maybe even an upset. Because, hell, I mean, Notre Dame played them well. If Notre Dame can play them well, why can't Penn State or Oregon? Oregon has a top flight quarterback prospect now that Tua's hurt. Justin Herbert might go number 1 or 2. I mean, Georgia, and here's the thing that frustrates me, Darnell. They say that last year doesn't matter. They say the past doesn't matter when they refer to Clemson. But, bro, Tua's hurt. Georgia hasn't looked that good. We can't say it's because of the conference they're in, but then say that we're not acknowledging the past. Why are these two teams still in the top 5 right now? Yes, Alabama didn't lose, but we know that there's more than winning and losing that goes into these polls. Why are we trying to act like it's 100% objective until it's time to not be objective and put your opinion in? I just don't. If Georgia were to make the playoff again, I don't say Oklahoma has a shot against Ohio State or LSU. I don't think Oregon has a shot against LSU. Maybe they can go spread for spread against Ohio State, keep it close, maybe even do an upset if Ohio State were to get full of themselves. But, dude, we're in a situation now where we're talking about Georgia and Alabama. Two teams that might not even win their conference/division, because Alabama's not going to win their division. Georgia might not even win their conference. We're talking about Utah, Oregon, that still might win their conference. Oklahoma, that might win their conference. And then Baylor, who still might win their conference. Right now, the Big 12 championship game is still Baylor and Oklahoma. Hell, that's part of the reason why we had such a big debate yesterday. Because they were trying to stuff teams in more so than actually give the group of 5 teams that need to be in a chance to be in. Because they changed that right quick this week.
That's your Power 5 recap of last week. I'm going to go ahead and read off the 3rd week of the college football playoff rankings. And pretty much everything from 1 to 7 stayed the same. LSU at the top, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, and Utah. Number 8, Penn State. Number 9, Oklahoma. We're going to get into Oklahoma. Number 10, Minnesota, who suffered their first loss of the season.
And that in itself is confusing to me, but we'll get to it.
Number 11, Florida. 12, Wisconsin. 13, Michigan. 14, Baylor. 15, Auburn. 16, Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Might as well wait till next year.
I mean, I don't even think they're going to get a New Year's Six Bowl. They're going to be playing in a very, very low-profile game with a bunch of wins. That's
17, Iowa. And here's where things start getting interesting for me in Dallas. 18, Memphis. 19, Cincinnati. 20, Boise State. 21, Oklahoma State. 22, Iowa State. 23, USC. 24, Appalachian State. And 25, SMU. So, as we gonna see here, as you just heard the rankings, Dallas. So, before we get to the group of 5 talk real quick, it's a big week for 2 conferences, 1 Power 5 conference and 1 Group of 5 conference. Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
The Big 10 has a big week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because right on the East Division of the Big 10, Ohio State 10-0, 7-0 in conference. Penn State 9-1, 6-1 in conference, and Michigan 8-2, 5-2 in conference. Those are your top 3. On the west side, that's 4 teams we're looking at here. Minnesota 9-1, 6-1 in conference. Wisconsin 8-2, 5-2 in conference. Iowa 7-3, 4-3 in conference, and Illinois 6-4, 4-3.
Now you bring up Iowa and Illinois. I'm sure one of them is playing somebody on that list you just mentioned, but what are the realistic chances of Iowa and Illinois doing something? Like, you know how much help they would need at 3 and 4 losses?
No, we're not talking playoff time. I'm talking conference.
No. Please, if you really thought I meant playoff time, I'm insulted. Dude, they have 4 and 3 losses with 2 games left on the season. What are the chances of them playing for the conference championship, those 2 teams?
Well, one of them gonna get knocked out because they play each other. Iowa and Illinois get together this weekend.
And I figured that's why you mentioned it, because somebody's playing somebody, but still. Because hypothetically, if Illinois win, they still got 4 losses.
You got Michigan playing Indiana. And you already know Ohio State and Penn State get together. It's a big week for the Big Ten. A lot of maybe we'll get some answers. Maybe we'll have some questions.
Who's Minnesota play?
Minnesota might have a bye week. Because I was looking at the schedule, I ain't see them. I think they have a bye week. I could be wrong.
That is a perfectly timed bye week because there's going to be a lot of cannibalism in the conference this week. So that's actually perfect.
Can you go double check that for me?
Yeah.
And while he's doing that, the other conference the Group of 5 conference I'm looking at, Dallas, as the week is the American Conference.
This Saturday is the 23rd.
Yes.
Yeah, they play Northwestern.
No, they should win that game.
Yeah, okay.
They should win. So the American Conference on the east side, we have Cincinnati 9-1, 6-0 in conference. UCF 7-3, 4-2 in conference. Temple 7-3, 4-2 in conference. On the west side, Memphis 9-1, 5-1 in conference. SMU 9-1, 5-1 in conference. Navy 7-2, 5-1 in conference. Thankfully for Navy, that Notre Dame game was not a conference game.
Yeah, and it's weird because Google, for whatever reason, has Navy having the tiebreaker. It's kind of a moot point because they play each other this week, but yeah.
Yeah, so SMU and Navy gets together this weekend. Memphis, who right now in the college football playoff ranking is in line for a New Year's Six Bowl.
You know what the odd thing is?
Yeah.
Right now, Cincinnati has smooth sailing. Like, we had the big debate last week, but here's the problem. Like, A, this is great for the American Conference moving forward. Because App State losing to a Sun Belt team basically made this conference a premier conference. You had UCF all these years, and UCF didn't willingly pass the torch, but I mean, come on, 4 teams from one conference are ranked, 3 from the same division. The thing that's going to be interesting is as far as our ranking and our national champion and who gets the playoff, New Year's Six Bowl appearance, bro, we know Cincinnati is going to be in the title game. And we know Cincinnati is more than likely going to get another ranked win if they win, and vice versa for the West Division team. The thing is, though, like, as the rankings go forward, bro, like, how are they really going to keep all these American teams in?
That's to be found out. UCF is at Tulane. You have Temple at Cincinnati, and we all know SMU is playing Navy. So 2 conferences, 1 Group of 5, 1 Power 5. They have big weeks. Either we're gonna get answers or we're gonna have more questions.
Man, if Cincinnati 10-1 played a primetime game against UCF last year, here's the crazy thing, Darnell. Right now, they are having the perfect BCS at-large season. Their only loss right now is to the number 2 team in the country, who is now going to get back Chase Young. The country didn't even know how good Chase Young was when they first played Cincinnati. And that's not to say Cincinnati will get a rematch if catastrophe happened to Ohio State. That's not to say that at all. All I'm saying is you're looking really good. You were the team that beat UCF first. Your only loss is to Ohio State. And it was a blowout, but, you know, if this was a BCS with every Group of 5 team already having a loss and nobody's going undefeated, I would say they would be in the driver's seat despite the current college playoff ranking having Memphis ahead of them.
Maybe a sneak peek at the top 5 list coming up a little later. Now I'm going to turn over to my partner to do the group of... No, I should know. Take that back. I'm not going to turn it over to him. I'm going to give you the group of 5 recap as I usually do. Well, Louisiana Tech, I gave you a shout out last weekend. What did you do? You lose to Marshall.
Damn.
You know what, Cincinnati? The reason why y'all dropped in the polls is because y'all struggled against South Florida.
That's horrible. Bro, I didn't know whose fingers I was crossing for the most. Fucking Charlie Strong to actually get a big win for once, or Cincinnati to not screw this pooch for everybody.
And ironically, guess who Memphis played this week?
Who?
South Florida.
Well, that's a whole lot of film. That's a whole lot of film.
Temple over Tulane. And then we already discussed a little bit. Navy get destroyed by Notre Dame. Appalachian State did what we thought they would do. They beat the holy bricks off Georgia State.
Yeah, who we thought they were.
Utah State, big win over Wyoming.
Big win.
And Port Fresno State, what a difference a year makes. From Mountain West champions to that's a bad
dumpster fire.
It's a bad year. It's just rough. Just rough.
It's weird because UCF lost and everybody wanted to know what the hell was going on and what the hell happened. But don't let Boise State being the class of the conference, don't let the voters really not giving a damn what goes on past the Mountain Time Zone deter you. The Mountain West Conference is still a good conference. And when Boise State wins that conference, whoever they play against, I can't remember now because they've been cannibalizing themselves, but I can't remember now who they even supposed to be playing at this point. But that's going to be a good win in group of 5 terms. Boise State doesn't control their own destiny, but with Cincinnati looking bad against South Florida, with Memphis, teams can still be upset. In the group of 5, you're assuming that everybody is closer together until somebody proves otherwise. Having 4 teams from the same conference helps that argument for Boise State. Boise State is still the class of the group of 5 right now since UCF then went ahead and just had a rebuilding year. It can't happen. So don't just write off the Mountain West this year because, Fresno State didn't look good because a lot of other teams stepped up. This might be one of the best years Wyoming's had.
There you go. And now I'll turn it over to my partner. That was for the group of 5 discussion.
All right. Coming in at number 1, Memphis. Number 2, Cincinnati. Number 3, Boise State. Number 4, SMU. Number 5, App State. Same as last week.
So you just switch 1 and 2.
Pretty much. I mean, and here's the thing. Obviously within the 180 character limit or 280 character limit, whatever it is now. I'll try to fit in these notes for everybody else who doesn't hear this, but Cincinnati struggling against UCF is laughable. I mean, USF, please, USF is laughable. I don't know what Charlie Strong is doing down there, but I know he ain't doing that. So, again, Darnell, when you're a group of 5 team, just like all the tweets and all the memes and all the gifs that UCF was doing back when they were on top, you gotta actually finish out a year first. It's been a long time since Cincinnati had Marty Gilliard and Brandon Kelly. You gotta finish out the year. You can't look ahead. So that's why Cincinnati dropped. SMU is over App State because at the end of the day, App State lost to a Sun Belt team. Even with the ACC and SEC win, it's difficult because SMU is about to play a team that was ranked last week, and they're going to play a team that is ranked in Cincinnati if they get to the conference championship game. App State doesn't have any more good games to play. Now, something that would help App State in the future, but not this week, is that the chances of SMU winning their conference, their conference is a lot lower than App State. App State's in the driver's seat in the Sun Belt. SMU needs help and needs to beat people at the right time and needs the right people to get beat.
No arguments for me this week. Yeah, pretty much. You and the pal for me, I should agree for once.
I mean, the other 2 polls agree too. Since we were so focused on the other 2 polls last week, they agreed too. Navy's dropped out in all 3.
Well, do you know? Everybody's in agreement this week. It took 3 weeks to get.
Well,
all right. So what you gonna say?
I said, well, at least for Navy, because there's still some Boulder Dash going on in the mix, but yeah, at least for Navy.
Well, I'll tell you. So, group of 5, that's your list, and have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? It's a long process. It's a hard, thought-out process. Yeah, I know. I was there. from March of this year.
thinking about how I'm going to do this, doing all my research, trying to get everything right. What platforms can we use and how we going to record it and how we going to make it sound good and make it all this happen. And then I came upon Anchor. The Anchor app on my phone, the easiest choice I could ever make to do a podcast. It's free to use. You don't got to pay for nothing. You can record episodes whenever you're ready. You can edit it and then you can release them when you want to. And you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how you're going to distribute it on other platforms because Anchor has partnerships with Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Pocket Cast, whatever you name it. Because the Playmakers Ball podcast is the podcast that I use. We're on all them platforms. We're on 9 platforms just by using the Anchor app. So pretty much all the questions that you have questions about doing a podcast, go to the Anchor app or go to the Anchor website, anchor.fm.com, and just search through it, ask questions. Because I tell you, a free app that does all this, there's nothing more you can ask for. I even got friends, they doing their podcast on the Anchor app. Faith Talk, you might have heard of it because it's very good. And it's great that it's an app like this, it's a website like this that makes it easier for people to do podcasts and do what they love best, talking about the things that they love to talk about. So give Anchor a try, see how much you like it. We'll love to hear your podcast.
All right. I think we're doing pretty good here, Dallas. So let's go ahead and get the Week 13 games, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
All right. First up on the docket, Northern Illinois following 9 at 17 ranked Iowa.
Iowa.
I'm going to say Lovie Smith somehow, someway has his team playing pretty good under the radar. But I'm picking Iowa. But Lovie Smith is doing some good stuff.
Yeah, they're going to a bowl. Lovie Smith has that program right where it honestly should be. With this quote-unquote playoff, because yes, we do get a 14 playoff, but I mean, it's kind of sort of doing more harm than it is doing good. But with that, it's still the football bowl subdivision. And Lovie Smith has his team about to play in a bowl. That is where Illinois should be in the big scheme of things right now. Yes, Lovie Smith is one of 2 of the first black coaches to ever coach in the Super Bowl. Yes, Lovie Smith also probably derailed the Hall of Fame career of Devin Hester for a couple seasons. Lovie Smith, though, is still a good coach with top-level experience, highest-level experience. It takes time. And now you have Minnesota upstarting. I think Illinois is exactly where it should be in the big scheme of things.
You're the one of the 2 of us that likes the lines and stuff. So do you agree with the 16-point favorite Iowa?
Whew. I'd probably bring that down to like 9 or 10. I wouldn't take that.
All right. On the group of 5, Georgia Southern Eagles are at Arkansas State Red Rule.
I'm probably going to go Georgia Southern on that.
Georgia Southern. All right. Trying to find the line here. That's what I'm trying to do.
I don't think you are.
When I was looking at getting ready for this Million Hat Queen Big in the game, I was so amazed that Arkansas State caught my eye.
What a difference a year makes.
Both teams 6-4, 4-2 in conference of the Sun Belt. Georgia and Southern is a 1-point favorite.
Again, in a group of 5, when it's that close, you might want to take the team that's favored.
You might be right. I think I'm going to go Arkansas State. Just for old time's sake. It reminds me of the days of NCAA college football, man. I wish they'll bring those.
I hope when they do bring them back, because I think it's inevitable. It's just not going to happen for a few years. I really hope they bring back the FCS teams along with it. I know there's about 138 FBS teams that they have to, account for, but hell, half those teams in the FBS now were in the FCS the last college football game.
Shoot, I had a dynasty with Arkansas State and Southern Miss.
Bro, I think I played like NCAA football 2003, doing Larry Fitzgerald undercover. FAU was 1AA at the time. So, like, hey, Old Dominion, Western Kentucky, Liberty, App State. Start
Big Ten football. 13th-ranked Michigan Wolverines are on the road to take on Indiana Hoosiers. Michigan's a 10-point favorite.
And I would agree with that. Indiana slipping into the rankings this year. It's a good feel-good story. But actually, I think they're in a better place than Illinois is in the big scheme of things, because I don't think Indiana, as far as football is concerned, I don't think anybody expected anything. They're not as bad as Kansas or Rutgers, but, I mean, nobody expected them to be bowling and get ranked at one point. So they might be ahead of schedule.
I will say this. Listen to Kurt Herstry yesterday, and they were talking about the Michigan State game. He said, Michigan, they're gonna win, and they're gonna enjoy doing it. And that's exactly what they did. They put a beating on Michigan State, and they enjoyed it. I think they're going to do the same thing. They're going to enjoy this, even though it's on the road. Because what's the week after? It's the game.
That you're not playing for the playoff, but you might be playing for your job.
Going back to the Group of Five American Conference, it's the matchup that I've been waiting for ever since we had this discussion last week. 25th SMU Mustangs are at Navy Midship. Navy, 3.5 favorite.
Interesting. Very interesting. Partially because Navy is not a passing team. So they're expecting Navy to be able to contain the SMU passing attack most of the game.
Ooh, I know why.
What?
If I'm looking at this correct, I think they are predicting a rain forecast for the game.
Ooh. That is different. What's the percentage of precipitation?
They didn't say the percentage. They just need to go find that out.
Because that does change things, though. Like, if it's over 60%, that's going to change my pick.
Let's see. Well, it is that time of year up when you keep going up north.
Yeah.
So it's looking like about 40%.
40%. See, in Florida, that means 90. But not really familiar with the climate up there in Maryland. 40%, I mean, but Vegas is smart to do that. 40% though. Because I'm trying to like not use Florida blinders on when it comes to precipitation percentages. I'm still thinking SMU is the better team. But it is perfectly understandable why elements would come into play. I'm picking SMU because 40% when you're not in Florida, it could happen, it couldn't happen. It's almost 50-50 coin flip.
Well, it look like it is. And you talking about same side of the conference too?
That's what I mean. It's like, if you're a team from Texas that has Texas boys and you can't play in the rain against a team that likes to run the ball, maybe you don't deserve to win your conference. Now, Memphis, okay. UCF, okay. Can't play in some rain. Cincinnati, But come on, bro. You from Texas and you can't play a team that likes to run the ball in the rain? You might not be from Texas then.
Ooh. You still going SMU?
Yep.
I tried to defend your Navy and got whooped by Notre Dame.
Whooped. And here's the thing. It's a historic rivalry game. So it's not like, their head coach. It's not like their players. don't understand. Like, oh, we got Notre Dame this year. They're going to – no, bro. You play Notre Dame like every year. Notre Dame, as you can see with the ranking, if they're not undefeated, they're not a Power 5 team that year. Let's just be real. If they're not undefeated, they're not a Power 5 team. So 52-20, there was no reason for that.
I'll tell you, it was lucky from Jump Street. Every time they went to a Notre Dame highlight, it was Notre Dame scoring. Why? So you're playing SMU, the story that nobody saw coming.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't even until I said something.
Sure didn't. But then, I did the deep dive, like any good journalist should do.
Oh, take that back. I said, 40%? No, 63%.
Oh, nope, Navy. 63%, it's going to happen. Navy. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen heavy. Navy.
3% chance of rain in the forecast for this.
You don't understand. If it's either or and you're a team from Texas, I don't buy that. If it's gonna happen and Navy know it's gonna happen and Navy's gonna game plan to play a game in the rain with the conference still on the line, Navy by 3, just like the spread. Navy by a field goal because SMU can't get it going for some reason. Navy. That being said, last week is still rough, but the problem is Notre Dame is Notre Dame. They want to keep all their TV money and everything, and that's understandable. But as long as they remain independent, they're never going to get any respect after they lose more than 2 games. SMU isn't Notre Dame. SMU has the formula that always beats Navy, which is just pass the ball because all Navy can do is run. But Navy coming off a loss that bad, when in the group of 5, they've been a pretty good team. They're still 7-2. They still have a chance in the division. They still have a chance in the conference. But in order to have that chance stay alive, they have to beat SMU anyway. So game planning for a game where it's going to rain for Navy is different than 50-50 game planning for a team from Texas and SMU.
All the logic. Everything you just heard about. And I'm still going to SMU.
Hey, 3.5. And then on top of it, hey, don't forget, I'm still sticking with this Navy pick now. I don't know, it's 63%. Like I said, if it was over 60, I was going to pick Navy. That being said, SMU needs to feel some type of way. What the hell did they do to get dropped down from the ranking for that week? For a team that was about to play Notre Dame. You got to stop ranking teams when you know they're about to get blown out. So SMU's probably going to feel some type of way. It's only 3.5 points. 3.5 point spread.
If I was to use your line, they should feel some type of way. They ranked 25th.
Yeah.
And the team that beat them is ranked 18, and it's ahead of the whole group of 5.
But Darnell, you know what we say about number 25. You know what we say on this podcast about the 25th ranked team in the country.
If you rank between 19 and 25, have your head on a swivel.
It's coming. Them shots about to be fired. When the lights on that Corolla go off, run.
You know, I'm gonna roll with the 2015 on this one. I'm gonna roll with them on this one. I just like the fact they have a balanced attack, so I think the balanced attack can survive.
And that's usually what ends up hurting Navy. Because once Navy gets down 14, it's kind of sort of done unless they get a defensive touchdown. That's usually what ends up hurting Navy. But, maybe they have the team this year. Maybe they have the personnel. I know they're cool.
Right.
What?
I hate to beat it down to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But the battle for the Coastal Division is still up for grabs.
Oh, hell.
Pitt won last week over UNC. Now they on the road to take on Virginia Tech.
Oh, God. Orange Bowl?
That game is supposed to be raining, too.
Oh, hell.
Virginia Tech's a 4-point favorite.
There's got to be some FCS game you can watch that's more entertaining. Don't put yourself through that. If you're listening, don't put yourself through that. Find some FCS game. Find a MEAC game. Find a SWAC game. Don't put yourself through that.
Hey, which means another Saturday I get to wake up and listen to Herb Street continue to try to figure out the Coastal Division his damn self.
Jesus Christ.
Panthers or Hoagies?
Oh, God. I guess Virginia Tech, because as of right now, Virginia Tech is supposed to be in the Orange Bowl with bowl projections. So I guess Virginia.
Or with you. I'm gonna pick Virginia Tech. All right, Dallas. This is a rivalry game we did not pick last year. We're gonna pick it this year. The Pac-12, one of the Pac-12 greatest rivalries, resides in the city of Angels. UCLA Bruins against the USC Trojans. Surprisingly, this is a 3:30 game.
Say that again?
This is a 3:30 game.
No, who UCLA is playing?
USC.
Oh, God. And how bad is Chip Kelly's team right now?
4-6, 4-3 in the conference. They pretty much still alive for that division.
That says so much and so little.
USC's a 13.5 favorite.
And I will be taking USC.
You know, ABC 3:30, sunny California, 13.5 favorite, and you rank 23rd in the country, and you at home. That's not so much that upset. But I ain't gonna do it.
Imagine what this decade has been. We're honestly thinking about maybe kind of sort of pulling the trigger for the upset pick. USC is 23rd. We don't know when USC is going to get that running back. We don't know when USC is going to get that quarterback. We don't know when
they still ain't fully healthy.
Like, bro, like USC has generational players at almost every position, at almost every season. Like, where's the receiver? Where's the running back? Where's the middle linebacker? Where's the safety? Where's the edge rusher? Hell, where's the left tackle? Where's the Tony Baselli? Where's the Tyron Smith? Like, what was it? Why is it? What is this? What has been this decade for USC?
Clay Hefford, your job is on the line here, sir. I think you're gonna keep it. All right, let's run through the rest of my group of 5 games before we get to our 2 big picks, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana Tech, you disappointed me last week, but you're playing UAB, so somebody needs to take control of the Conference USA.
I'm thinking this UAB.
Didn't UAB win the last year?
Yep, double-digit wins, too.
73, 8-2, 5-1, 4-2. UAB 4.5 favorite. That game's supposed to be raining. Jeez, there's gonna be a lot of rainy games this week.
It's that time of year.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, Dallas. If Louisiana Tech didn't lose last week, I probably would pick USC. But I think I'm gonna go Louisiana Tech.
That's fair.
Because I think they gonna realize, yeah, we can handle most.
Understandable.
Staying in Conference USA, Western Kentucky 6-4, 4-2 in conference against Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles 7-3, 5-1 in conference. SM 4-point favorite, and I'm going with it.
I'm probably gonna take the favorite too.
Let's hit to the American Conference. Temple Owls are at 19th ranked. Cincinnati Bearcats 10.5 for the Bearcats.
I would probably go with that. It would be smart to take that.
They saying they finna come out and send a message after what happened against South Florida.
Do you blame them?
They better send that message, or it's gonna get worse. Mountain West, Dallas, your favorite group.
Mm-hmm.
20, Boise State Broncos, number 3, and How long have they been third in our rankings?
Forever. But hey, that can change.
On the road at Utah State, who is 5-1 in the Mountain West. 6-4 overall, but 5-1 in the Mountain West.
And that's what matters.
Boise got 8.
I don't see why you wouldn't pick Boise in this situation. I think it's a Boise win.
Yeah, man. Utah State up and down, but somehow they get themselves together in time for conference play. But yeah, I gotta pick Boise. I gotta go Boise. I just wouldn't be surprised if Utah State actually beat them. Actually, Boise State lost was on the road to BYU. So, boy, you got another road test here. Sticking with the Mountain West. For our final group of 5 pick. San Diego State Aztecs 8-2, 5-2 in conference. At Hawaii 7-4, 4-3.
And they're at Hawaii.
Yeah, that 11 o'clock p.m. time, but that show looks ugly right now.
Woo! Is that 11 Eastern or 11 Hawaii?
11 Eastern.
Okay, so it's going to be like 5 or 4 in Hawaii. They live in Cali, but that jet lag still. I usually pick Hawaii for their home games for that jet lag. Because, I mean, you probably leave on Thursday.
Hawaii, 3.5. Yeah, Hawaii's a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, because you leave on Thursday. You try to get through the jet lag, have a walkthrough on Friday. Then, you know, what did you take, like 24, 36 hours for jet lag to really get through?
I'd never been on a jet, so I wouldn't even tell you.
But that's why, you know, I usually tend to pick Hawaii for their home games because of the jet lag people have to go through. It's also why Week 0 exists, because of Hawaii's unique geographical.
You picking Hawaii?
Yeah.
I'm picking San Diego State. This ain't nothing new to San Diego State. They've been through this.
Yeah, you say all that, but if they lose.
If they lose, they didn't come to play. You can't say jet lag because how long y'all been in the same conference?
But hey, bro, like Hawaii is going to the Hawaii Bowl for like the 50th year. Hawaii is a bowl team, so it's a little bit different. It's not like this is a 3-8 Hawaii. You know, this is a bowl eligible, has been bowl eligible Hawaii playing a home game, trying to get hot for the Hawaii Bowl because. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not think Hawaii has a bowl agreement with anybody else. And I don't think anybody else will want to travel to Hawaii to not play Hawaii. That'd be a nice vacation, but still weird in the sense of Hawaii boat in Hawaii.
All right, Dallas, our fan game of the week comes from the Big 12, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Longhorns 6-4, 4-3 in conference. Not ranked for the first time in who knows how long. They are at 14 ranked Baylor Bears, who suffered their first loss last week, so they are 91, 6-1 in conference. Baylor's a 5.5.
I am curious as to why this ended up being game of the week. Is there any data you could collect from the Facebook peeps as to why they wanted this game over the other one?
Well, looking at all the games that was on the docket, they couldn't pick Ohio State and Penn State because that's college team day.
Oh, so that's why you did it. Okay. Well, yeah. I think it's Baylor. Baylor, they screwed the pooch. I hate that in college football, teams do this all the time. I hate that Minnesota did it. I hate that Penn State did it. I hate that Baylor just did it. I don't know why you need to learn the hard lesson every year. I feel for these college coaches because even though they're, basically playing and coaching for multi-million-dollar brands, you're still dealing with kids at the end of the day. It's like, bro, you're not really like there until you're like 22. A lot of these dudes are gone by 22 nowadays. But, Baylor's learned the hard lesson that everybody has had to learn over and over again. So I'm picking Baylor.
I'm picking Baylor. Just like I said, K-State will not beat both Oklahoma and Texas, which Texas beat K-State after K-State beat Oklahoma. Baylor ain't losing to both teams, so they already lost to Oklahoma. They will beat Texas.
Well, that and Baylor's season isn't done. Hypothetically speaking, Baylor would still be a one-loss Big 12 champion. And their best loss, well, only loss would be to, at the time, 8th-ranked Oklahoma. So you're only lost to a top 10 team, the team that everybody thought should have won the conference. You'll get to run it back, avenge that loss. And then, if Clemson loses a game, if Georgia doesn't beat LSU, it's 2 spots that are wide open.
All right. National Game of the Week, College Game Day. We live from Columbus, Ohio. Shout out to Kirk Hershey because he's going home. Number 8th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, 9-1 and overall, 6-1 in the Big Ten against the number 2 and undefeated Ohio State Buckeyes, 10-0, 7-0 in conference. That game is forecast to be a rainy one, and Ohio State is still getting 17.5.
Well, Chase Young is coming back, so if it's a rainy game, that's perfect. It's Ohio State.
They did that on purpose, too.
Oh, bro.
They did that on purpose. First of all, it was a crappy suspension anyway. But the rules still is the rules, so you still can't get money. Second of all, you knew damn well you gave him 4 games on purpose to reduce it to 2, so he would be back for the 2 big games.
As we saw on the Monday Night Football game, when you're a team that wants to be pass heavy and your defense is now Ohio State's defense is very good. What I'm saying though is Ohio State would fit perfectly in the Big 12. They're a spread team in a land of smash mouth giants. They have an edge rusher though. When you have an edge rusher, it don't matter what kind of defense you run. You can run a 3-4, a 4-3, a 5-2, a 3-3-5, a 4-2-5. When you have a defensive end that can consistently get to the passer, I have this book of plays, but it don't matter because Chase is on the field. And I mean, Penn State's QB said he was getting death threats after they lost to Minnesota, bro. If Happy Valley is still feeling like that after, I don't know what they thought this season was going to be, but it wasn't going to be what they thought apparently. So I guess they're going to be ready to send death threats to the left tackle or something. I don't know.
I did say like Ohio State wasn't gonna have that stupid behind loss, didn't I?
Mm-hmm. You think with Chase Young getting 2 weeks off, you really think it's gonna be this?
No, you're letting me finish. So I said they're not gonna have that stupid loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this week is what? Penn State ranked in the top 10. Next week is the biggest rivalry of the whole season, which is against Michigan. Ohio State, Ryan Day's first year, will be in a college football playoffs.
Unlike how Urban Meyer left Florida, Ohio State is in a much better situation.
They're not losing to Penn State. I'm gonna say my Michigan pick for next week.
Do you think Chase Young plays in the playoff game?
Yes. You compete for a championship.
I do think that's the difference. Because Chase Young right now is like the number 1 prospect. And, defensive ends are weird. Everybody talks about the quarterbacks, but defensive ends are kind of the ones where it's like, yeah, we're not talking about you because you don't throw a ball for 5,000 yards every year, but you're still a high-priced commodity. Now people are talking about him. The suspension actually gave him more notoriety and more fame. I think the difference is, though, he'll be competing for a national championship. He'll be able to do something that, well, no, because Joey Bosa did win a national title, right? So, I mean, it's weird how Ohio State does it. Sometimes it'll be wide receivers for a stretch. Sometimes they'll do like what they did with the 3-quarterback carousel. But it's weird how Ohio State is it's slowly become a DN school as of late. It's going to be 3 straight DNs going in the top 3.
I have a 6-game lead over Dallas right now, with 4 games picked differently. I think all of them do for 5 different.
Yeah.
So we both going Ohio State. We're both going Iowa. I'm going Arkansas State. He's going Georgia Southern. Both going Baylor. Both going Michigan. I'm gonna roll with SMU on the road. Going the whole midshipman. We both going VTech. We both going USC Trojans. I'm going Louisiana Tech Bulldog for the second week. We're going UAB. We both going Southern Miss. We both going Tennessee. We both going Boise State. I'm going San Diego State on the road. He's going with the whole Hawaii Warriors. Group of five, top five again, Dallas.
Memphis, Cincinnati, Boise State, SMU, App State.
That's your group of five list. Shout out to Florida State. They are bowl eligible.
Yeah, and they fired their coach. So, God knows that rivalry game is interesting now. That rivalry game sure is something. Both teams probably ain't going to the New Year's Six.
They are going bowling in Tallahassee.
People don't understand how the FSU UF rivalry goes. People don't understand the communication and the language that is used between Gators and Seminoles fans. That might as well be a bowl game in itself.
I think both teams got a bye week.
Oh, so they're going to come into that game fresh?
Pretty much.
Is that no? Wait. Because let's be real. Let's be completely honest here. UCF probably upsets FSU even in this state, but is this basically a state championship game too? Because you guys are 7-2, right?
No, we're like.
So they would be 7-4 if they won. Damn, that is a state championship game. Oh crap. Well, I'm sure I'll have some material. But hey, we're shouting out losers and guys that fired their head coach. Shout out to my alma mater, University of West Florida. Only been around for 4 years. Second year the program was alive and made it to the national championship game. We lost, but still, that's never been done before in college football in any division for a team in their second year of existence to make it to the national championship game. Now we're going back dancing. We're back in the D2 playoffs. We played number 4 seeded Wingate this Saturday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm happy. Hey, at least some team in Florida is going to play in an actual playoff and not something that is decided by this weird committee that for some reason wants to punish teams for winning bad games. What can you do? Hopefully one day they say the students play 15 games, whatever. But every other division seems to have figured out a way. Get rid of those cupcake games. I don't know. Maybe one day, Darnell. But until then,
Well, that's it for your college football episode, ladies and gentlemen. West Florida has made the Playmakers Live podcast.
Well, technically, we make it every week because
it's the first time you mentioned.
Well, last year we didn't make the playoffs, so.
With that being said, NFL. Yes, Dallas has to address the hometown team, the hometown fan base, his hometown. I don't know what he's gonna say, but I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be good.
I am positive it's not gonna be good. At this point, I don't know what I can say that hasn't been said by every Jacksonville columnist, blogger, and fan, but, I'll try to say it in a different way. And it's pretty much calling out the same person we've been calling out for the past 2 years.
So, yes, he's gonna give you the state of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're gonna discuss my rounds. They was on Sunday Night Football, so saw some good things. Still ain't happy.
Pray for Mitch Trubisky's hip. Quarterbacks and hips, man. It's a thing now.
Oh, that's another thing we're gonna get into. This is something fishy about it. But something happened on Get Up. And they asked Dominique Parcells a question, and I'm going to tell you his answer. It's quite surprising to me. He just suspected one team. And it's a team in my division. So we're going to get into that. Anything else happened? Lamar Jackson.
I mean, but what else can we say about Lamar Jackson? It's just, I mean, he's gonna have a chance to really, because I mean, let's be fair. He beat Russ. He beat Tom Brady. Him beating the Rams. I mean, you want to see what he do against Aaron Donald, Dante Fowler. You want to see Jalen Ramsey shutting down his number one receiver, what he can do with the rest of his weapons. But I mean, I hope that we stop doing the whole, but he hasn't played so and so. Well, what this, but he hasn't played a real pass rusher. Like, bro, like, be ready to
look.
Don't be ready to hate on Lamar.
I am not happy when Monday gets it.
Well,
okay? I'm not happy now. I won't be happy on Monday. Okay. Maybe what happens? Maybe next Tuesday I might be happy. I might be. But as of right now, I'm not a happy man. You're just gonna leave it like that. That's the NFL podcast. But if you caught our Facebook post, I tweet from my Twitter page, it's a jam-packed week because we have a pay-per-view.
Yes, and that also means that I think they're starting to like answer the question. Well, we have a major 4 pay-per-view, which means we have a takeover.
War games.
Lots of chaos, lots of good stuff.
So NFC is putting a triple header.
Yeah, so I mean,
I would have. I'm sorry, Dallas, because I know.
Full disclosure: ever since their initial episode, WWE's been doing a copy and paste, and they've probably overdone a couple things, but at the same time, they have to do what they have to do. 52 weeks episode of television, whatever the hell. Full disclosure, though, probably gonna, miss, quote unquote, what they do on SmackDown's 2-hour go home right before NXT TakeOver the next day. One of the things.
We ain't missing nothing. I'm gonna explain on that because what the promo that they gave me on Raw, I said, that's even perfect for us to do it before SmackDown. That was perfect. But I know Dallas has a hard time getting up for WWE pay-per-views. He's finally one because so far give him something interesting to look at. But Dallas, unfortunately, I do have.
What?
I do have a problem with Survivor Series.
Oh, word? Join the club. I mean,
I'm just saying because I know it's been quite hard for you to get up and pay.
I mean, and Survivor Series should not be the one to get us up. The thing that's interesting this time is because they're addressing the elephant in the room. How the hell are you going to put your developmental show up against a company's best product? I'm at least happy that they're not insulting our intelligence in this regard. Now, I'm not going to lie and say I'm not excited for, AJ Styles, Roderick Strong, and Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm not going to lie and say I'm not excited for the women's triple threat match. I'm interested to see, even with the WWE formula of putting on matches, I am interested to see what decisions they make in those matches. But even still, with champions pulling double duty and probably not even being on the show, somehow, some way, the NXT TakeOver is probably going to leave a big, big, big match to follow. One of those matches is going to be a follow that match that probably lingers into Sunday night.
So that's all that we got. You already know, what platform to catch us. Anchor, Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, all that good stuff. Facebook, Blog Podcast, Playmaker Blog, Twitter, Playmaker Club. Always tweet at us.
Really? And if you guys haven't been able to find our personal Facebooks by now, I mean, just Darnell is in every group. I'm a little bit more of a squirrel hunt, but they're public. So.
Any final words, Dallas, as we get out of here?
Fuck the entire AFC South and John Tiffany.
That's it. That's done.